everybody. Welcome to our Super Bowl episode of Everyday Cooking with Lynn
and Heather.
Today we're going to be doing some really just basic snacks for anybody for Super Bowl. So if you're a New England Patriots fan or an Atlanta Falcons or Minnesota Vikings, not like we'll ever see them in the Super Bowl, but if you are, anyway, we're going to be showing you cowboy caviar, chili, taco dip, and pigs in a blanket. So stay tuned.
With chili, we're always going to want to have some kind of bread, or at least in my family we do. Or some cheese. Chili is so versatile. You can do all kinds of things with chili. But today I'm making my cheese biscuits. Dun, dun, dun. So we're having cheese biscuits and chili for dinner tonight. But I'm not going to show you how to do that because that was already done on another episode. So if you look at the episode that says Sunday soup with cheese biscuits, it shows you exactly how to make them. So I hope you stay tuned. But now we're going to start with some appetizers.
Yep, cowboy caviar coming your way. Howdy, y'all. We are going to be making cowboy caviar.
Yeehaw!
Cowboy caviar is a side dish that our friend Nikki Greenwood, the author, great gal, she does a lot of beautiful sci-fi romance stuff. She's, I believe, through the Wild Rose Presses, who she's published through, but you can check her out on Amazon, or you can also go to NikkiGreenwood.com. Great author, check her out. Yep. But this is one of her recipes. It's cowboy caviar, and we always ask her to make this whenever she comes to any of our events. So this is her recipe. And I'm just getting told that it's not sci-fi, it's paranormal. Paranormal, sci-fi, romance, whatever. It's all good.
Yeah.
So check her out.
Yeah.
Okay, so cowboy caviar. Again, this is Nikki's recipe, so I'm going basically off the ingredients. We have 1 can of whole sweet corn, 1 can of black beans, drained. Make sure you drain the black beans. Roughly a cup of a red diced onion. I used a medium-sized onion, and it gave me just about a cup. Tomatoes. So far, I've used 5 tomatoes, and what I do is I put them into the food processor, and I grind them down. Not quite into a liquid, a liquid with a little bit of chunk, almost like a pico de gallo. The other thing we're going to add in is 2 limes and fresh cilantro. So be right back, and we'll put it all together for you. We're back. Cowboy caviar. What we did was we took our tomatoes that we minced in our food processor, not quite to puree, still has some chunk left. We added 1 can of corn, 1 can of black beans, and roughly a cup of red diced onion. I used a small to medium-sized onion, so it gave me just about a cup. The other thing we're going to add is the fresh cilantro. This is one thing I said to Nikki, hey, can I use just the dried herb? No. I got told fresh cilantro. Nope, that's it. Fresh cilantro. So that's what we're doing. You don't have to cut it fine. Just get enough in there. If you were going to measure it out, you're probably looking at 2 tablespoons. Now the other thing you're going to want to add in is your lime. Just take your juicer.
Now, do you also add salt and pepper to this?
She didn't add it to the recipe.
Okay.
So I am not going to.
Alright.
If she didn't write it on the recipe, I wouldn't. And there is no lime in the coconut.
No lime with the coconut.
Okay, so you got, there's 1. And I took the seeds out of the limes before I did this. So if you have a lime that has seeds, make sure you catch the seeds before it goes into your dish. Okay? And with what I have here, I'm actually going to use 1.5 limes. I don't think we're going to need the full 2.
Now, I noticed your recipe called for jalapenos, but you're not adding them today.
I'm not, because to be very honest with you, I don't like super spicy.
But you could. You could add your own spice if you wanted to. Kick it up a notch by giving it some jalapenos or whatever.
Yeah. The 2 other things that Nikki also adds to hers is a little bit of ground cumin. Okay. Now, if you want some extra heat and you don't want too much heat with the jalapeno, you're either going to add 1 jalapeno de-seeded and chopped, or I'm going to put a little bit of crushed red pepper in ours. Not too much, just a little for some heat. For the cumin, you're probably looking at maybe 2 tablespoons. Start there and then go to taste. And then you mix it all up. Now, again, Nikki said, this really is good to do the night before so the flavors have a chance to meld. But if you're just doing it that day, just do it that day. So, and there you have cowboy caviar. Ta-da! We serve it with the scoops because when you want a big chunk of this, you're not going to want a flat chip. Serve it with the chips that look like a little bowl, and it is going to be delish. Delicious. Next thing we're going to show you how to make is pigs in a blanket. Pigs in a blanket are a little hot dog, little sausage, wrapped up in crescent dough. Pillsbury, generic, whatever. So what you're going to do is I bought Pepperidge Farms, or Hillshire Farms, excuse me. I'll get it right. Hillshire Farms Little Smokies. I do take them out and I do rinse them off. Some people do, some people don't. I prefer it. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to take your little smoky, put it in your crescent dough, and roll it up tight. If you're using a larger little smoky, or if you're using part of a hot dog or a larger sausage, the ends can stick out. That's not an issue. In this particular case, I'm using the smaller little smokies, so the ends aren't going to stick out. You just put it in there, wrap it up. If there are any holes or anything like that, as you roll the dough around it, it'll cover it. If anything, if you do get any real big holes, just pinch the dough around it. It'll go through it. See? Little piggy in a blanket. Get your crescent dough. And it doesn't even really, crescent dough comes in a triangle, but it doesn't really matter from what end you start it. It's so easy.
Alright, now are you going to serve this with sauce?
It's really up to you. Some people like it plain. I have to admit I'm one of those people. But what I normally do is I cook them, I put them on a platter, and then I put the sauces in small cruet dishes around it. And when I serve it with sauce, I serve it with a couple different mustards. I also serve it with a melted cheese, and I also serve it with barbecue sauce.
And there we go.
So,
perfect appetizer for game day.
Yep. And it's really nice too because if you put the sauces on the side, everybody can pick their own. That's really, it's one of those things where it's a basic thing to make, and then you dress it up with the sauces, and you can make as many as you want, different flavors.
Number 2, we're doing another roll.
Yep, we're doing another roll to show you how to make your little smokies.
Now with these sauces that you were talking about, we're going to be able to get them at the store like already done?
Yeah, buy a bottle of barbecue sauce. Buy a bottle of, whatever type of mustard that you like. I mean, I like hot mustard. I like just a little bit of spice with these. But what you can do is, if you take about a cup of yellow mustard and add a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of horseradish in it, good stuff. One of the other things you can do too is if you're melting cheese, take one of those blocks of cheese, the melty cheese, and then add 1 bottle of Guinness Stout. And it'll kind of liken it to the beer-infused cheeses that a lot of the restaurants are doing with pretzels these days. You melt, yeah.
Wow.
Melt the cheese down. It's a full brick. It's probably like maybe a 20-something ounce, maybe a 32-ounce brick. And then you just melt that down, and you add the beer at the end. Let it sit in it for probably, I'm going to say, 15 minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes. It mixes pretty good. And that'll give you that nice beer cheese.
Nice.
Maybe I might do that on an upcoming show, so look for that. Look for my beer cheese recipe. And if you have your dough that's just not agreeing with you and you're getting bigger pieces, smaller pieces, don't worry about it. Just, again, roll them. Do them whatever way is working for you. I've learned over the years, no matter what I do sometimes in the kitchen, sometimes what I'm working with doesn't always want to work with me.
Yeah.
Pizza dough, apparently. Somewhere my face is on the wall of some bakery, and pizza dough has become my arch nemesis. So anyone who is really good at rolling pizza dough or, flying it up in the air, talk to me. I gotta learn. I gotta get some skills. All right, I'm going to finish rolling the rest of these little doggies.
Now what do you put them in at, and how long do you cook them?
You put them in at 375 degrees, and go by whatever the packaging on your crescent roll says. When your crescent rolls are brown, you're good.
Okay.
And I can't tell you exactly the time because most crescent rolls all vary by manufacturer. So look at whatever the suggested cooking time is for whatever type of crescent roll you got.
Okay, so we're going to talk today about chili. Now, I've already made the chili, as you saw, and it's in a crock pot, it's cooking. But I'm going to go over real quickly. This is a very easy chili recipe. Anybody can do it. So what we're going to start off with, and I'm going to have to read the recipe from the phone because that's what I have it on. We're going to start off with 2 pounds of ground beef. That's the 90-10 ground beef. Because you want a lean meat for the chili. It just tastes better. And we're going to have 1 large white onion, or 2 tablespoons of onion powder, whichever one you want to do if you don't like whole onions, and 5 cloves of garlic, or 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of steak seasoning. Now the steak seasoning has salt in it, so I don't add salt during the process of making the chili. So we're going to take all those ingredients in a pan and brown it up. Make sure you use a spatula or a spoon to get all between the ground beef to make sure that it's all cooked all the way through, because you don't want, it's nasty to have any kind of raw hamburger in your chili.
You don't want the hamburger to cook in the crock pot. You want it pre-cooked on the skillet, then add it to.
Alright, that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to pre-cook all of that. After it's all cooked down, we're going to add it to the crock pot, and these are the ingredients we're going to add. Now I want you to understand that chili is a thing that you can do and add different things to. Make it your own. Don't just go by my recipe. Decide, hey, let's throw in this and see how it tastes. Lynn puts green peppers in hers. I personally don't like green peppers in my chili, but she does.
And I put sausage.
I don't like that either.
Yep, I put sweet Italian sausage in mine.
So, yeah, you can play with the meat flavors. You can play with the flavors. But the main thing that goes into chili, you know, you've got to have the tomatoes. That's a big thing. So we're going to do 4 cans of diced tomatoes, no salt, that's seasoned with garlic, basil, and oregano. You're going to do 2 cans of rinsed kidney beans, 1 can rinsed black beans, 2 cans tomato sauce, 1 can of tomato paste. We're going to add 3 tablespoons of chili powder, because this really gives that chili flavor, is the chili powder. And we're going to add 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper to give it a little bit of a heat without giving it too much heat. You can always add a jalapeno pepper or another kind of hot pepper that you like instead, or with. You can do a combination of peppers if you really wanted to make it really, really spicy. I don't like it that spicy. So, and another thing that makes chili is cumin. Add 2 tablespoons of cumin and add a little bit of black pepper. Now you're going to put this in the crock pot and you're going to let it cook. Now say you're having a party at 5 o'clock and you put this crock pot on at 7 o'clock. Put it on low. Let it simmer throughout the day. Make sure you stir it often so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pot. That's very important.
Would you suggest using, you know how they have the crock pot liners? I gotta tell you folks, I've used them and I swear I can taste the plastic in the food.
I don't like them, but we have a friend who absolutely loves the crock pot liners. It's just a little plastic liner that you put in there, you put the food in there, and then you just throw it away. And you don't have to clean the crock pot. That's fine if that's what you want to do. It's easy breezy, but like you said, I taste the plastic.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
Me too. I don't really care for it. I think if you're doing something that's maybe not like 7 hours or 8 hours, maybe they're okay. Something that's maybe 2 or 3 hours. But if you're going to do the long haul for this, I would recommend not using the liner.
And the reason why, if you do a party at 5 o'clock and you start at 7, you do the long haul on low, because that just helps the flavors really get going and really blend very well. But if you're in a hurry, like you want to do it really quickly, you can do it in 3 hours on high. That just means it's faster. So you say you get home at 3 o'clock, you want it done by 5 or 6, you can do it for 3 hours, it just has to be on high. And a crock
chili can stay in the crock pot in the fridge for at least, I would say, 3 days, right?
Yeah.
You can eat on that.
Yep. And what you can do too is once it's actually cooked in the crock pot, you can take it out and put it into containers and put it in the freezer probably for a week to 2 weeks. As long as it's frozen that day. The day you cooked it, put it in the freezer. I wouldn't go much more than that though, because the more time it spends in the freezer, when you go to defrost it, you're going to get more water in your food, and you can't fix that.
Well, actually, I keep mine in the freezer for a couple of months.
Oh, see, I've never done that.
Yeah, and when I take it out and it does get the watery, icy thing, I just add a can of tomato paste to it and add a little more seasoning, and it's fine.
Yep, I've never done it for that. Well, again, and like I said before, food doesn't last that long in my house. You have 2 people.
Yeah.
I have 2 people, but 143 stomachs apparently.
Yeah, Chad and I are empty nesters this year. Our daughter went off to go find her own life in a different state. So
Liz!
Love you, baby. Okay, so that's how you do chili. Now remember, salt it how you taste it, but don't salt it right away. Make sure you taste it every time so you get enough salt. And make sure you get the tomatoes that don't have salt in them so that you can add the salt that you want to them as you go. And when it's done, just add some shredded cheese on it. That's really good.
Or sour cream too.
Yeah,
I love
that's
sour
really
cream.
good. So just kind of make it your own, and it's not hard at all to do this. So the next thing on the list.
And would you say there is no shorter time for chili than 3 hours? Anything shorter than 3 hours, it's not.
It's not going to be as good.
It's not going to be as good.
No, don't do it any shorter than 3.
Yeah, chili's not what we're having for dinner tonight at 4 o'clock. Let's have it ready by 5.
Right. It doesn't work that way.
Check
really.
some of our other recipes for that.
Yeah. So what's next on the agenda?
Taco dip.
Yay!
Okay, we are back with taco dip. Now, don't be intimidated by how hard this is. The whole 5 minutes it takes to make it, you'll be fine. Okay, first thing we start out with is 1 brick of cream cheese. Now, you want this at room temperature. If it's a little bit cool, nuke it for like 30 seconds at a time because you really want it creamy, okay? To that brick, you are going to add roughly 16 ounces of sour cream. Okay? You're going to want to blend that together. Now, I did use a electric beater once to do this. It made a mess. Doing it by hand is really just the best way to do it.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah. Yep. Some things you just want to do by hand just because A, it's going to blend better, and B, it's just going to be better. You're not going to have as much of a mess on your hands. Okay, now there are a couple different options for cream cheese at the store. You're going to want to use the solid brick and not the whipped. Only reason being is that the whipped really does not break down the way it's supposed to. Okay, so once you have the sour cream and the cream cheese mixed together, you're going to want to add in 2 packets of taco seasoning mix. This is the mix that you would use in the meat if you were making tacos. Now, they do offer a low sodium version. It's fine. There's no difference. If you're somebody who's trying to watch that, feel free to use the low sodium version. You're also going to want to add in, I'm just using a half a lime of juice because you don't want too much. If you're actually taking it out of one of those little lime juice bottles, a quarter teaspoon, like half of that, so 1/8 of a teaspoon, for those of us who are not math savvy. So I'm just putting a little bit of this in there, not too much. There we go. Little bit of lime, a dollop will do ya. Okay, so you want to get that all mixed in.
And just serve these with any kind of chips you want, taco chips or...
This is heavy. This is a pretty heavy dip. So don't serve it with flat chips. Really the round chips are best because they're a little bit thicker. So that's what I tend to serve it with. And you just want to get this mixed up a little bit. Gotta have my spatula for plating because really the big thing about this dish is the way you serve it. The taco itself, if you want to just serve it out of a bowl, it's great. But the best way to do this is put it in a pie plate or on a regular plate. Put some shredded lettuce on top of it and a little pico de gallo on top. So we have that pretty much mixed to the degree it's going to be. If you want it smoother, you can make it smoother. I like it a little chunky. So if you want it smoother, just keep mixing it until it's at the consistency that you want it. So now we're going to plate it. Put it right into your pie dish. And it's going to seem kind of thin. That's fine. It's not going to seem like there's a real huge heavy layer of it. Okay? You're going to see a little piece of the cream cheese. That's fine. Because it's going to be covered by the shredded lettuce and the tomato pico de gallo. So some people also like black olives. I bought some to show you how that would look on this. Unfortunately, I didn't hide them from my daughter, so I don't have black olives anymore.
Teenagers.
So then, you just want to add some shredded lettuce. Again, sometimes with cooking, it's not just about how it tastes, it's about how it looks.
Yep.
So not too much though. You don't want it to be, you don't want it to be a rabbit's dinner. Then you're going to want to add some pico de gallo. That is tomatoes, onions, cilantro, all mixed together. And you just want to kind of toss it all over. Here, just do this. Probably be able to get it more evenly. Okay. And this lends to the flavor of the taco mix inside the cream cheese and the sour cream. So, and a little note, if you have any cuts on your fingers at all, be really careful with the lengers. Okay, get it all on there. And there you go. Taco dip.
You said we're going to add cheese to that or no?
Nope, the cheese you're using is the cream cheese and the sour cream in there.
Okay.
So if you want to put shredded cheese on top, totally up to you. I find it's a little too much cheese. I serve it just like this. The only other thing I have added in the past is just a drizzle of taco sauce on the top. But otherwise, that's it.
So here you have your Super Bowl game day buffet. You have your taco dip, pigs in a blanket, barbecue sauce, yellow mustard, chili, which is the star of our game, and your cowboy caviar. So we hope you guys enjoy the game. Well, I hope whoever you're all rooting for wins.
Yep.
Even though Minnesota isn't in it. We'll get there. You guys have a great one.
Bye.
Opening crescent roll dough. I don't care how many times they tell you to pull at the little foil thingy. Never opens. Nope.
Doesn't with biscuits either.
Nope, doesn't do it. So we're going to show you the Everyday Cooking with Linda and Heather's secret to opening the crescent roll or Grand's biscuit or whatever pastry too. Ready? Here's the secret. Hassan.
Yep, and that opens it right up. That's exactly what I do.
Ta-da! You don't have to make sure it's real finely chopped or anything like that. Just whoops!
Well,
for real.
Gravity check.
There you go.